Okay, in today's lesson we're going to talk about Pythagorean triples. And as you can see, I've included some beautiful right triangles here. Oh, so it's kind of bad. And then here. So there's all my right angles here. Alright, so what we're going to talk about today is Pythagorean triples. Our I can statement today is I can prove. Alright, let's highlight some words here. I can prove if a triangle is a right triangle or not by using the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so let's go ahead and move to our next page here. And so far we have learned how to solve for a missing leg in a right triangle by using the Pythagorean theorem. Remember, Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Alright, and then we've also learned how to solve for the missing hypotenuse in a right triangle using the Pythagorean theorem. Now let's just remember this here. Remember that our hypotenuse is always the longest leg in a right triangle, and it's also the leg that's directly across from the right angle. Alright, so now what we're going to learn today is and now we will learn how to prove if a triangle is a right triangle or not by using the Pythagorean theorem. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take the Pythagorean theorem and we're going to plug the legs into it and see if it equals the hypotenuse. Okay, so let's go ahead and move to our next page here. It says Pythagorean triples. A Pythagorean triple is a set of positive integers a, b, and c that fits the rule a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And if you'll notice, that's your Pythagorean theorem. Alright, so the first thing that they did is they checked one out. It says 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. Alright, so we know that 3 squared is 9, because that means 3 times 3. We know that 4 squared is 16, because that means 4 times 4. And then 5 squared is 25. So then what we're going to try to do is just see if they balance. Think about a balance beam. You know, all equations have to balance to be true. So is this true? Does 9 plus 16 equal 25? And yes, it does. So basically you'll have 25 equals 25. And then that is true. And then that would be yes, it is a Pythagorean triple. So basically what that means is if you were to draw this triangle, you would have a 3 here, a 4 here, and 5 here. And that would be a right triangle, okay? So let's take a look at a couple more. Let's look on the next page here. It says, how do we prove that a triangle is a right triangle? So I left some room over here for me to do some work. So they've already proved it over here. But let's just take a look at what they did. Okay, so they said that first thing you're always going to do is go ahead and write your Pythagorean theorem down. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. You're going to fill in what they give you. You're going to say, okay, 5 squared. They did this over here. Plus 12 squared. They did this here. Equals 13 squared. Okay? So then they figured out, okay, well, 5 squared is 25. 12 squared is 144. Equals 169. And the question that you're asking yourself is 25 plus 144. Do those two legs, when you end up squaring them, added together, end up equaling 169? And they do. So this would be yes, this is a right triangle. So let's go ahead and move to the next one. So there's really not much involved here. You're just trying to plug into your formula and see if they equal each other. Let's look at this last one here. And is this a right triangle? All right, so you've got your 9 and you've got your 40. So 9 squared plus 40 squared equals 41 squared. So they haven't really worked this one out. So we're going to do that here. So I'm going to say, okay, 9 squared plus 40 squared equals 41 squared. All right, so I know 9 squared is 81. And then I'm going to figure out 40 squared on my calculator that you can't see, but I'm doing it over here. So 40 squared is 1600. And then I'm going to do 41 squared, which is 1681. Oh, and look, I already know if I add these together, 81 plus 1600 is going to give me 1681. And look, both sides balance. It's just like when we solve an equation and both sides equal each other. So yes, this is going to give me a right triangle. Now sometimes they're just going to give you the numbers and they're not going to give you this triangle here. You can easily see that this is a right triangle. But sometimes they're not going to draw it for you. So that's where this becomes important. So let's look at the next page here. I want to give you a question that you're going to see when you take your Summit Power Focus Area number 5. Let me see if I can squeeze in here. Well, I can't really squeeze in, but let's look here where it says 8, 10, and 12. It says, which of the following could not be the lengths of the sides of a right triangle? And let's talk about why this is not. So they give us 8, 10, and 12, and let's see why that's not true. So we've got a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Let's look at one where it doesn't work. All right, so we're going to use 8 squared plus 10 squared plus 12 squared. And obviously the longest leg is going to be put over here for C, so that's your 12 squared. So 8 squared is 64, 10 squared is 100, and you know that 12 squared is 144. If you don't know those common squares, make sure you're using your calculator. If I add these together, I get 164 and 144, and oh no, those two things do not equal each other. So you're going to have to, on this problem, figure out each one of these, and those will all end up being true. But this last one here, the 2 legs squared does not equal the hypotenuse squared. So this one is not a right triangle. And also notice here how they didn't give us any drawings of any right triangle, so we don't know, okay? You can't just look at it by looking at the drawing. All right, then the last page, what I want you to do here is there's a Khan Academy assignment where you can practice the stuff that I just taught you. Go do your Khan Academy, right triangle side lengths, and then you're going to upload a picture of your score to today's assignment. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you need to go back and watch it again, please do so. And this should help you be able to pass your Power Focus Area number 7.